Hello everyone, happy Thursday. It's lunchtime, so I'm pretty much just gonna be doing a bit of packing, but I did want to at least get something going, you know? So we made a couple sales this week, yesterday I think, because we did our shipping for a couple of other orders earlier in the week. But basically we sold like a Jirachi Prism Star, and we also sold a Charizard GX promo from Hidden Fates, which I'm actually going to be getting from the tin back there. Oh yeah, I also got this in the background now. It was just like this random cookie thing that one of my friends got me, and so that was pretty awesome. I'll have to replace that tin back there. But the reason that we're going to be opening this is because this already has a tear in the seal, and so I decided to sell the promo, so if it sold, then I'd get a partial experience of opening this tin. So opening a Hidden Fates tin for the sake of honoring a sale. But yeah, I hope everyone's day has been going pretty good. I know that lately I've been starting to think like there are individual cards that I wanted to sell, and then it was kind of thinking about like how things like individual cards do tend to lose value over time, and it's something that needs to be taken into consideration, especially as you're collecting. So this is also a spare little fact. This particular tin was a part of, I think, the second release of the Hidden Fates tin sets. So they didn't come with that this final, like the final release of the, like a reprint of these tins came with a cardboard insert in here with like the Hidden Fates like this kind of hexagon type of pattern on it, which also was wrapped in plastic, like in that very tight plastic that you see on some of the mini tins. But this particular one came with this plastic insert for the packs, and normally I think came with a copy of every single art pack. So you could literally get an art set from the second, third, and fourth release of the tins. I think there were about 5 or 6 of them. The first one I think had the best pulls. After that, pulls were iffy. I think so, like these hit that iffy mark, but there's that. So, but there's the Charizard, the Mewtwo, the Mew, and the birds. I will not be opening these packs, honestly. I barely even feel okay selling them in the future, but like they're special. They're that set that I got like long ago that it was really like that turning point in like investing in Pokemon cards, where I just actually, oh, this one. So this one, it's not necessarily a misprint, but this one got caught with that top layer like at the very edge of that for the packs. But basically this was like one of the first times where I was like, I'm buying everything. Every single thing I see, I'm doing it, I'm buying it. I don't care if it's on credit, cash, anything. It's gonna be mine, you know? But, and now I have, well, as soon as I can close it, made a bit of a sound. But now I also have the tin box. I haven't had one of these fresh in a while. But it's like an entire experience, you know? But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And now I get to package these cards up. This is the promo, and the code cards behind it, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet. Might use it, might not. It will be decided. Cool. Had to remove it from the plastic. The Pokemon room can be messy, mainly because I do just throw stuff on the ground and then I clean this room up and then it's like, okay, office is clean again. But have to sleeve it. And there is the actual promo. It actually was well centered. I'm surprised. The front of it is almost also well centered. I think it's leaning to the left side of the card a bit. But you know, how often do you get to get like the promo fresh, right? Oh, actually I did open a couple packs with a friend and I ended up pulling this, and we opened up the pin collection, well, the Mewtwo one. To be fair, it was an impulsive decision. I forgot to give them the pin that came with it. That's actually why we decided on the Mewtwo pin collection. And internally, like, they were like, oh, can we open this one? I'm like, yeah, totally. And internally, you know, you're not gonna divulge because, you know, this is like a non-Pokemon playing friend or doesn't really know necessarily. They just knew that it had a Mewtwo and there's a pin, so it's kind of like, you know what, let's go for it. Let's do the thing. Let's open the packs. And internally, like, I mean, it was like, I wasn't not gonna do it just because of the value of it. So, you know, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Top loader and clean bag. But internally, one of the thoughts in my mind was like, we're gonna pop open a $120 box. But I mean, like, doesn't matter. I got it for like 12 bucks or 15, I think. Team bag, top loader. And then we gotta figure out which of these two invoices is it, which it's this one. And Alden, I'm packing it, I'm doing the thing, finding scissors. And also I realized with the first one, granted this might be just as loud, but that it was really loud when I did the whole, like, you know, whoosh, like straight through, and so I'm gonna try and avoid that this time. But yeah, I don't know, this seemed like a perfect middle of the day video where I got to talk about that fun little moment, as well as the overall state of like singles in the market, which is kind of like, I mean, opening a sealed product is fun, just like, you know, we opened that pin box, but the pin box as a whole, like, you know, over time is able to grow in value, because that's just what sealed product does. And so it's very safe when you're investing, when you're like, you know what, I'm keeping this for the long term, it's gonna pay off at some point, and you feel secure in that fact because historically sealed product has consistently done this. Whether you kept the Crimson Invasion pack like I have right here, and I got those Crimson Invasion packs, you know, for like, I think $3, because I think those came in you know those multiple pack check, yeah, right there, those checkling blisters. I got it on clearance. It came with the Roaring Skies as well as the Crimson Invasion. I actually have one in that pile, but it's like somewhere in there that's still sealed. And I got the rest of them from the Lucario GX box. That's why I'm like, then why do I have loose ones? I think I sold a couple of Roaring Skies packs. I know that's where 2 of those packs came from. And then I sold 4 Ancient Origins packs, which also came in the Lucario GX box. Anyway, so we have this invoice. I'm not gonna show their address, but if you sell on TCGPlayer, they get to do the really nice thing of giving you an invoice where you get to see like the card that sold, for the price it sold for, what store sold it. Anyway, I usually tend to keep it and put it around the card itself, just so it's like packaged nicely. And of course we have our usual thank you letters, and everything just fits nicely there. And then we finally just get to the envelope. I have a mix of 2 colors. We'll do one of each today. But yeah, and so where was I? I forgot. But yeah, the singles don't really end up carrying as much of the value as you'd really hope for them to. Like this Charizard GX, actually, for example, a sealed tin of Hidden Fates, you know, the Hidden Fates tin with the Charizard promo, originally, you know, it was retailing at like, I think $20. That was the price of a tin set, which is reasonable. You know, you get 4 packs. You get the promo, you get a code card for the promo, and each pack has a code card itself. So the packs are each, you know, an investment of like $4. This was a specialty set, so technically I think the packs were $5 if you really took that into account for for the overall market thing. But so basically you have that, you know, that whole thing of arbitrage where it's like you're making just as much money by opening it, if not more, than its original value on the market. So you're paying $20 and you're pulling out, I think at its best this was maybe a $10 card. So you're pulling a $10 card, a code card that you could probably sell for at lowest like maybe a quarter. So you have $10.25, and then you have 4 or $5 packs. That's $30.25. And so you're pulling out $30.25 of product out of something that's MSRPing for $20. Cool. So it just leads to you buying a whole bunch of them and selling off the individual things, or, you know, just so you could like make the profit on it. So technically you do that to like 2 of these boxes and you get one for free if you were to sell the stuff. But the point, going back to the fact that over time those tin boxes, the little, like the Gyarados one that replaced it on its spot, those are now sitting at about like $50 to $60 depending on what the promo is. So like the Gyarados one I think is like $50 right now, and it's been $50 for a while, so nothing special's really gone on. But realistically you also have to consider how many of them were made and how that affects their price. Non-machinable. Sorry, can't multi-brain task. But basically we're here. Non-machinable, non-machinable. We got the back with the tape so that, you know, things stay as they should. And then here we have our butterflies, or non-machinable butterflies. But the point is that like the market does tend to affect the price of sealed product, because you also have to think Pokemon printed to demand on Hidden Fates, specifically on Elite Trainer boxes and on tins, which is why if you look at the Walmart specific, like they're the same exact thing as these tin boxes, but Walmart made these specific actual boxes, just like that Lucario GX box where you would have all 4 of the packs. And I think they also reflected the 4 art prints of like, you know, the Hidden Fates. So you'd get the Charizard, the Mewtwo, the Mew, and the Theory Burbs. And you'd get all that, and a jumbo card, and the actual individual card. And I think those by far, I could look it up, but I think last I checked, those are swimming at about like $80. Maybe more, but I don't think so. Hidden Fates. Let's find out. We're looking at sealed. Yeah, so, well, the Charizard one specifically is at like $89. But basically, because they were printed to demand, and because there's not a lot of diversification within the range of these like particular products that were sold, like, you know, how different is it really if you got that Walmart one or if you got a tin? The only major difference is that jumbo card, and how much value are you placing in the jumbo card? What does it mean to the buyer? That all determines like how this particular item matures over time. But see, nothing ever changes with the card itself, because when you take into consideration the actual promo, it doesn't matter whether it was a tin or it was a box. Either way, it's the same exact promo that just populated a greater population of it within the market. Because say they printed 500,000 of those actual boxes, right? And then say they created a total of like 500,000 every single wave of the tin release. Again, these are made up numbers, but the point is, if there were 6 waves, now you're talking about 3 million promos. 3 million plus the 500,000 that were released in the boxes, which I think only had one print. They might have had more, but the point is, it created a population of 3.5 million of these Charizards. And so yeah, over time that will wane off, and that'll be like, I don't know, maybe 10-20 years from now, where it's kind of like, you know, kids played with these or this or that. But even then, the consumer nowadays for Pokemon cards knows what they are, because, you know, as the older generation of Pokemon, technically I'm there, collected Pokemon cards, like, you know, the vintage cards. And granted, this one's in great condition, but the point still remains that a lot of us as children really, like, you would put them in your pocket, and you would put them in the backpack, or you would like keep them in a box where they would shuffle around every single day. And so people didn't know that Pokemon cards were going to be worth something someday in the future. And so these cards were very commonly like treated poorly, and so these cards, you know, the vintage ones at least, over time developed in value as well, where you have like the Gold Star Charizard and the Gold Star Rayquaza, and they're going for like hundreds, right? Well, the chances of a Charizard GX being treated the same way is less likely, because there are people like me, like, you know, a lot of the people who are like, oh, I'm gonna invest and I'm gonna collect and do all these like super cool stuff that makes me happy. Cool beans. But I promise you, those people are treating their stuff a lot better than every other kid growing up who had a binder, and then, you know, you're playing around and suddenly you open up your backpack and your cards were all over your bag, because, you know, these binder sheets weren't necessarily super safe either, and they were actually like vertically placed like this, and so the cards would just like pop out of the tops, and you'd have this giant mess. I'm not gonna show information, but envelope 1 done. But yeah, and so now we're gonna do the other one. The single market is basically like what I'm saying right here, is kind of like, you can buy it, and it's very encouraging, like, to create that collection, to create those connections to like a particular Pokemon. Like Charizard is like the most incredible baby that Pokemon has had, and any product with it is normally extremely successful. Like, if, like, realistically speaking, Champion's Path, not the best set, like, really, wasn't the best set, nothing super special about it. And with the Elite Trainer box, the main thing it has going is the fact that it has a giant chubby Charizard right on front. Like, do I have one there? Oh, it's right there. But I can almost promise you that Elite Trainer box will reach a point of maturity, and it will be a lot more desired in the future, despite everyone in the future, like, maybe they'd know, you know, that Champion's Path wasn't that great, because Champion's Path really only had the Charizard, and honestly, I can't even think of anything that really came up from Champion's Path. I mean, other than the Marnie Premium Collection that people liked, but to be fair, that's because Marnie's awesome, you know. But outside of that, what value truly was in the set? I don't think it was in any. And then playable card-wise, I also don't think that it really shone, like, in any way. And then, I have some Champion Path packs right here, actually. Yeah, I was thinking back to the design of the packs, and so Gardevoir is a cool Pokemon. So yeah, let's say Gardevoir is really popular. There was the Alcremie V, I think Hop Full Art was in it. There was definitely like the Venusaur V, but that was regular art. But see, none of these pack arts are like Yeah, that's stunning. That's amazing. Like, even on the pack arts, you didn't even have the Charizard. But the point remains that that Elite Trainer box came with a Charizard V Full Art promo. And no other card, just like with these little tin boxes as well, with this Charizard promo, no other container of this specific set, or like Shining Fates, it's not gonna compare. And I'd want it to. It also has a Charizard inside of the set, but due to the design, I don't see it popping out as much to buyers in the future, you know? And I might be wrong. These are just like general thoughts that I have, but they've tended to prove correctly when you look back at things. For instance, with the Legendary Collection, there is a deck box where you could get the Legendary Collection Charizard. It's not really a promo, but it was a non-holo, so it was rare, because in the Legendary Collection, the only other Charizard that wasn't the holo version was that reverse holo super sparkly one. And so it was really rare. And so when you got that specific deck, it was really special, and it made for a better experience. Also, I haven't been showing this, I don't think. Charizard, top loader, team bag. We have our invoice, which we're folding in half. But that particular theme deck ends up selling for a lot more, and we're going to use our other envelope. Than say, like, comparatively any other theme decks of the time and or prior as well. You don't see those selling for as much because what? It didn't have a Charizard. It didn't have a super mega popular Pokemon that would mean something to someone at this point in time. And that's something that I think Pokemon really does consider, even though currently the community is all like, oh, there's too many Charizards, too many Charizard this, too many Charizard that. There's always a Charizard promo. And yeah, there is. Because Pokemon knows how to market to their future, like the future market that will exist, that will be like, what's iconic, what's recognizable, what is like, it pops out, not just to the current consumer, but to the future one who grows up, who's played these games. Like in Sword and Shield, you had Dynamax Charizard, and it was like this giant, like, Pokemon that would come out from, you know, the towers that you'd go to, and it would be a spectacle, you know, like that's a part of like the video game portion of the game that's just like, it's amazing to a child who's playing. Well, cool, now bring that memory to the future when they remember their favorite Pokemon, where maybe, sure, it was maybe the Alolan Ninetales or the Galarian this or that, but you know what? The thing that's going to be consistent is that Charizard. The thing that's going to be consistent is that Pikachu face right there in that 25th anniversary Elite Trainer box, or the Mew, or a Mewtwo, or any other Pokemon that's just like, that is original, that is amazing. Like, for me, looking back at something and being like, yeah, that's the thing I want, I think back to the Mew from like Southern Islands, and it's like, you know, really happy, and it's like Mew, and it's like the reverse holo, and honestly the Japanese one was probably my favorite. But they're things that you recall that then make you want to buy it. And I think I've gone on too many tangents at this point, but single cards will increase in value, just I think a lot less than others, and that's only because of the population of them. And there's even been like the press release, I think that it was either a press release or a news bit, but that Pokemon announced that they had like produced something in the millions or billion cards that year. And to hear a number like that, it's kind of like, whoa, that's an incredible amount. It's also why, or at least not factually, because I don't know for certain, I'd have to do more research, but I think it correlated to the fact that bulk ended up like tickering down, because it's like, if there's this many cards, then what really is the value of the extra card that, you know, you get a Dino or a Chatot in a pack, and it's not going to be worth much, because one, is it rare? No, it's common. Cool. Well, how much was that set released, you know, or how much of a population was there? Well, let's see, at the time, maybe Pokemon did 3 reprints because they didn't have the whole print-to-demand system fully set up. And it's like, oh, well, there's like a bunch of these chatbots, and they're not used for actual play, and nothing really unique or special about it, so it becomes bulk. And so, looking at these cards, granted, I'm selling them now, and I got to experience something cool, like opening a tin, which I haven't done in a while. So, it makes for a special experience, you know, when you're opening up that sealed product. But if if the tin was perfect, I wouldn't have sold the promo, and it would have maintained its value, you know, that $60 value, and then continuously grown over the course of time. Just like those Dragon Majesty packs. Sorry, they're like right in front of me. But the Dragon Majesty packs, very beautiful. I love that. But these packs came from those pin boxes. I opened one of them because the box, so the case overall, over time, like one of the edges became like bumped in, and so it wasn't a perfect case anymore, and so I was like, let's open this case. And then after that, I was like, well, let's see what's inside. The first one where, you know, the box had caved in a little bit was already bent, and so it's like that's no longer sellable with the integrity like that I want to provide to my buyers. Like, if you're gonna buy a sealed box of something, I will try to prevent in every possible way any sort of damage that might have befallen it. If something did happen, then at that point it's just due to the integrity and ethics of being a seller. I'd rather open it and then have sealed product like this. And granted, packs alone also have this additional backing to it, so like, you know, people are like, oh, what if you waited? Like, what if you did this? What if you did that? And that is a true possibility, but I don't. And granted, you might not take my word for it, but it's something that I have to, as much as I can, maintain the controls I have over the inventory I have. I can at least produce as much, like, I don't know what it is, but it's the security of mind that you have as my buyer. And granted, feedback will also reflect it, but machinable, haha. So we got our 2 orders all packed. I have to put up more inventory though, because if I want to maintain, you know, that whole path of, or the record of sales and what sells, and particularly, like, honestly, like WotC makes up the majority of my single sales. After that, I think, well, people still lean for older cards and then to the newer cards. The newer cards end up selling, whether only if they're like related to a meta deck of some kind or just a popular Pokemon. So like if I put up a Gardevoir GX, I would 100% expect it to sell before, say, I put up a Hatterene V. I was like, think of a Pokemon that's popular but not really popular. Hatterene V, but also very common because, you know, they came in that Champion's Path box as a promo. But anyway, took us half an hour to pack 2 things, tell very incomplete stories and ramblings, but I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. I will catch up with you guys on Friday, and then this might just be the pattern, you know, Tuesdays to Fridays we do videos, and then after that I'm semi-allowed to have a life, to do school, to occasionally go to the gym, because we have goals for graduation. It'll be fun. But yeah, and then, oh yeah, I'm graduating in spring. I'm excited. I applied for graduation, and if you are a student, then I hope that my shared anxiety and excitement for you, for myself, for everyone going forward, you know, we're doing it. We're doing the Pokemon. We're doing life. I hope everyone has an awesome day. Be safe, have fun, and as always, be nice to each other. So